All right. So, and I know we've spoken, I'm going to be charting while we talk here. I
Okay.
know we've spoken a bit on the phone, but you have shoulder pain. Which shoulder is it again?
Right shoulder.
Okay. And what part of the shoulder is most of your pain in?
It feels like I can't really pinpoint it on the outside of the shoulder, like by like touching, but I feel like it's kind of in the middle and then maybe on top. So like right now, it feels like right here, but it's not on the outside of the shoulder. It's kind of on the inside.
Okay. Does it feel like it's deep inside, or does it feel like you could poke on the spot that hurts? Like when it hurts?
Like right now, it's a little sore and I cannot really push on the spot. It's kind
Oh,
of
you
underneath.
can't find the spot.
Yeah, it's underneath. Feels like.
And you had told me, I think, that this had happened after a workout. Is that right?
Like 4 or 5 months ago, at least, I was playing basketball and I was coming back from a different injury. So when I was playing, I was still getting back in shape, and I had the ball, and I went like this and pass here. Let me get a better angle for you.
Push, kind of a swooping push
And I
pass.
went like this, but like a really hard pass, and I felt it right away, and it was on like that on this arm.
Really hard pass. Felt pain right away.
Oh yeah, right away. So I thought it was just gonna be, a small injury that over time would heal and with just like a little bit of working out and whatnot, but it's just been lingering for a long time. And my guess is I'm just re-hurting it every night when I'm sleeping.
Okay. So is nighttime when it hurts the most?
Um, if I sleep on it, well, like the last month or a month and a half, I've been trying to go to bed, sleep on the other shoulder. But just throughout the night, this is my primary shoulder I am used to sleeping on. So I end up going back to that shoulder. And yeah, when I wake up, if I've been sleeping on it, it's pretty sore. And then the other time the time I've actually felt, a quick sharp pain is taking shirts and like wrinkling them out to hang them up. That has triggered it like once or twice because it's such a quick motion and I didn't even, don't think it's going to hurt.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it to, right?
Yeah.
Taking out a shirt to get wrinkles out. And would you say, since this has started, that it's trending a little better, a little worse, or staying about the same?
I'd say it's been getting a little bit better, but I think that's just over time. Like at first, I was not working out and kind of just letting it rest, and then I've been doing just lightweight workouts. And the funny thing is, almost every workout I can think of does not actually bother it.
Awesome.
So it's one of those things where like I have some weights also in the background if I need to do anything, but I do these and whatnot, and or whatever workout I'm doing, or above the head. And above the head, I feel it a little bit, but it doesn't stop me from doing the workout. But I can just tell that I'm right-handed, and usually my right arm was the strong one. I can just tell that my left hand, like shoulder, is just more intact, stronger right now.
Yeah, and by the way, that feeling of weakness on your bad side, like it feels slightly weaker than it used to be, or the other side. That's shoulders are famous for doing that, by the way, for kind of going weak on you.
Mm-hmm.
If something, even if something subtle is wrong,
Yeah.
and it's not that you suddenly lost the muscle strength, it's that the brain cuts the power to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like if you imagine if you're barefoot and you stepped on a sharp rock and your leg would buckle.
Yeah.
Right. Now, it's not because those muscles suddenly got weak. It's because your brain cut the power to your legs so you wouldn't bear full weight on that sharp rock. So similar kind of thing going on up here. That's common.
Okay.
And what kind of workouts are you doing, and how often for upper body?
So the last couple weeks, not including this week, I was going like this, doing sets of these. Sets of these. I also do like the ab roller wheel, so extensions all the way down like that. And I was doing the ab rolls daily as like the only workout for a while, and then just as it was staying stiff, I was like, you know what? I don't even know if that's good for it or not. I wasn't sure, so I stopped it. And then this week, I've actually been doing. I got a VR set for the Corona crisis, and I've been doing VR boxing, and that is really been a good workout.
That gets surprised. I've almost never boxed, but I tried I did one of those, where they have the huge boxing gloves that
Uh-huh.
you're having this was a long time ago, but big heavy gloves. It's hard to hurt anyone, but man, they
Yeah.
had a 1 60-second round, and man, I was exhausted just
Yeah.
for 60
Yeah.
seconds.
So I'd never really been into boxing either, but I got a VR set in. One of my buddies had it, and I was like, that looks fun, and I did it. Oh yeah, and the funny thing is, like, I'm swinging full punches like for hooks and straight jabs, and overall I really don't feel it. Like there's certain times I don't feel it, and then other times it's just a lingering injury that it could be something dumb where I literally can't pick up my bed to tuck the sheet under it because it feels like I don't have the strength, even though I know the muscles
But no, okay. So, by the way, I like everything I'm hearing so far.
are there. Okay, cool.
So the
Yeah.
fact that you can do a couple things. One, it's trending slowly a little better. That's
Mhm.
always a good thing. Anytime you're trending in the right direction, that's good. Suggests it wasn't a big scary thing. Two, you're able to do pretty vigorous workouts, like you said.
Yeah.
You're adding more work. You
Mhm.
start with some light stuff, and then you added some full strength, explosive movements, and you're still not having big increases in pain. So those all suggest that whatever you have going on is not a big scary thing and should be pretty straightforward fix. Now, would you say over the last week, would you say your shoulder pain at worst is mild, moderate, or severe?
It's gonna be moderate. It's not severe at all. I mean, it's one of those things where, if I had to do something and I was like, this might hurt my shoulder overall, I could probably figure out a way to still do it. Yeah, it's just more annoying, and I love to play basketball, so I haven't been playing basketball the last couple weeks because all the gyms are closed down.
Right.
But before, when the gyms were open, I was going, twice a week, and I would feel fine for the most part, but then I would just do one certain movement, whatever it was. And once I did that movement just one time, it would then just feel a little extra weak the rest of the day until, I gave it a day and a half.
So with an overhead pass.
Or just certain weird movements. It wasn't, besides shaking out the shirt, I can't really think of like one consistent movement, but like just some kind of weird tweak where everything felt fine. And then after that, I was like, okay, it just instantly feels weaker, for the rest of the day.
Okay, gotcha.
But that hasn't happened as much since after basketball, because now when it like bothers me, it bothers me for a way shorter period of time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But since initially, the weak feeling after something is shorter, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's because I'm not playing basketball, because when I do play basketball, it's a lot of contact. Like, even if I don't do a weird pass and trigger it, like I'll play down low where, I'll have a lot of contact on my shoulders, and that probably doesn't help it feel better right after I tweak it a little bit again.
Okay. And are you mostly a side sleeper?
Yes, I sleep now I'm trying to sleep on the other side, but sleep on the side, and then I end up waking up on my stomach. But when I wake up on my stomach, if depending on how this shoulder is, it could really bother me, or I can find a comfortable position, which, once I'm conscious of where I'm at, I'll move my body to be comfortable, go back to bed, and then I'll usually wake up in an uncomfortable position against my shoulder.
Okay. Yeah, we're unconscious at night, right?
Yeah.
Maybe really uncomfortable, depending on the position you're in.
Yeah.
If you wake up face down. Any shooting pain, numbness, or weakness in arm, hand, or fingers?
No.
Good. No shooting pain, numbness, or weakness. Any neck issues at all?
Nope.
Good. Extremity, no neck issues, no headaches.
Nope.
Good. And how are you spending your workday? Are you doing this all day?
So here's the funny thing. I usually do sit at a desk all day, but I legit can't even work during this whole crisis. So I've been just doing different activities and trying to stay busy. So I'm really not sitting at a desk right now. Sitting on the couch, sitting on the ground, just different positions. Probably not the best posture overall on any of those either. But
like gaming and stuff, reading, watching TV, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just doing, and then going for walks and just a lot of different relaxing positions. But no, I'm not actually sitting at a computer. But a couple weeks ago, before this whole thing started, I was sitting at a computer for most of the day working.
Okay. Lounging, going for walks. Okay, good. The more, by the way, the more active you can be during this period, the better. I mean, fresh air and sunshine, exercise. I mean, sunshine's been shown to kind of reduce the likelihood of the virus lives very long on you, and then plus the vitamin D. There's lots of. I'm hiking every day. I'm going
outside. You know, especially with this extra time. You know, trying to take advantage of it and enjoy it somehow.
Yeah, keep you from getting cabin fever a little bit too.
I already had that last week, and now I'm all good, but I got it out of my system.
Good. All right, so I'm going to take you through a couple movements. We're just going to see what your mobility is like in your shoulder.
Okay.
So first, show me how high overhead you can raise your arms comfortably.
Is this a good angle, by the way, because it's slanted up? Okay, cool. So I can put my arms completely
side so I can see. Okay, good. Now that looks great. Now show me how far behind you can reach comfortably. Perfect. And then elbows up high. Nice. Could you touch fingertips behind you like this?
I can do it this way. Let me try. And I cannot do it this way.
All right. So you're not bad. So if you peek over here, you're about this far.
Yeah.
And it is common for your dominant side to have trouble coming up from underneath, by the way.
Because more strength or more muscles or something?
Could be just the way we use it. There's a lot of possible reasons, but normal range of motion in the shoulder is you could touch fingertips easily both ways, even though it may be a little tougher to do on your dominant side.
I think before injury, I could easily do both.
You could, okay.
Yeah.
Was it pain that stopped you from going further, or just felt like it wouldn't go? Like stiff?
Right now, no pain, and so maybe I couldn't do it before, but I'm pretty confident I was able to. It's not like I've tried this exact thing, but I've always been semi-flexible and whatnot.
Good. Yeah, you look like you are. You've got lots of extension back behind you, and too. Now, let's find a wall. I'm going to show you what I want you to try.
Okay.
Basically, I want to see if you can put your palm flat, fingers point behind you, about shoulder height, and then see how far you can turn your back on that hand.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine right there. That's good.
Okay, so hand backwards like this?
So fingers point behind you.
Okay.
You're going to see how far you can turn your back on that hand. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now try switching it up. Try the same thing with the left shoulder too.
Hand going backwards.
Point behind you. Oh, that's the tighter one.
Huh?
That's the tighter side, actually.
But
so if you look at basically, we're checking range of motion.
Yeah.
Normal range of motion is I can pretty much turn my back on that hand as measured by the direction your chest is pointing.
And I did feel that was a little tighter, but this is the injured side.
Yeah, I understand that's your good side.
Yeah.
Range of motion, you're right. Your range of motion does look quite good there. Let's see here. We have to get creative with our orthopedic tests because I can't put it around on you.
I do have different size weights if you want me to do any certain resistance or anything that you're trying to replicate right now.
Awesome. Now, do you have resistance bands by chance?
I do not know where they are, so hidden that I would probably not be able to find them quickly. Sorry.
Okay, so they are probably going to be your biggest win.
Yeah.
Your shoulder. So structurally, I think your shoulder's fine, meaning I don't suspect anything's torn, ruptured, fractured, dislocated, herniated.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just pain. Now, let me give you my little quick description of the shoulder. So shoulder is one of my favorite joints in the whole body because it's so much different than other joints. So for example, if you think the closest thing to a shoulder would be a hip, because it is a place where a limb attaches to you, right? And a shoulder is a place where a limb attaches to you, but they're very different. So a hip has a true ball and socket. So if this is your thigh bone here, and this is the socket, it's locked in there. It's a very stable joint. Mm-hmm. Shoulder has the equivalent of a golf ball on a tee. Mm-hmm. So it's just a suggestion of a socket. So it's very shallow. So the only thing that keeps it from slipping around or pinching or drifting in there are the muscles that attach around it, like a cuff on a shirt, which is where the rotator cuff gets their name. So the rotator cuff is 4 muscles that attach around your shoulder, and their job is to fire like retro rockets to make sure the attitude of the ball and the socket stay right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if any of those muscles are too tight, they're not elastic enough, it can tug the ball one direction or another in the socket and give you pinching or pain.
Mm-hmm.
If any of them are too weak, then it allows drift in there, and the same thing can happen.
I think I feel drift if more than a force. Like it feels just relaxed where it could like sag in a certain direction. Yeah.
Feels a little sloppy in there, a little unstable.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
So the solution then is to loosen any tight things you have and strengthen any weak things you have.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've already established that your range of motion is quite good,
mm-hmm.
and that means the loosening tight things isn't going to be our biggest concern. Our biggest win is probably going to come from strengthening weak things.
Yeah.
They can do a better job. Basically, think of the muscles around your shoulder as the protectors of the joint when you have to do a pass or sudden movement or shake out a sheet or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to demo. Let me see if we can do this here. By the way, everything we talk about today, I'm going to email to you, and you'll see it says, do these things daily. And there's a video clip for each one that walks you through how to do it, and it tells you how often to do it.
Awesome. Sounds good.
You don't have to memorize any of this stuff.
Sounds good.
I'm going to be right back.
And I'll be right back too. I'm going to get my charger.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm good.
Awesome. And by the way, if you can find your resistance bands, great. If you can't, I'll send you a link to some cheap ones on Amazon that'll work just fine.
Awesome.
So basically, I have some resistance bands with handles here, and sometimes it can be tricky to find a place to anchor them. But I mean, if you get creative, you can find like a staircase railing or a tree or whatever. And the bands I'm going to send you that are on Amazon have a door anchor, so literally any door will be a solid anchor. So before I demo these, let me say the 2 most commonly neglected muscles around the shoulder are the muscles that do this and this.
Okay.
Because most of our day we spend in the exact opposite position.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's keyboarding, gaming, reading, looking at our phone, cooking, whatever. So the muscles that do this are nice and strong. Opposite muscles are relatively weak. So what happens is the strong muscles win and we get slouchy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you catch up the weak muscles with these exercises, not only does posture automatically improve, but you also have the protection back here that you were missing.
Yeah.
So, and the beauty of these 2 exercises, you only have to do them once, maybe twice a week.
Oh, nice. That's nothing.
So the first one is a middle row, which I know you've done before. It's this action. And the most important part of a row is the chest out finish for 1 whole second before you release. So think of it as trying to touch your elbows together behind you. You won't be able to, but that's what you're trying to do. And you pause for a whole second in that chest out bit. Now, everything up until this point is just arms, which is fine. But the last inch, that last little bit, is where you're using rhomboids and middle traps, which are the most neglected ones.
Yeah.
So on this exercise, it's 2 sets of 10. with a little catch your breath in between. So you'll get pressure for the next set and you'll get more out of it. You'll see all this in the video. 2 sets of 10 with as heavy a resistance as you can get all the way back with.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So as any resistance where I'm like, I can barely do 2 sets of 10.
Exactly. That's perfect. And slow is safe on any exercise, but especially these. So slow is safe because it's hard to hurt yourself in slow motion. And also it builds strength faster because you're in the lift longer. Also slow movements, and don't just apply that to these exercises, apply to all your lifts you do. It automatically means you can't hurt yourself, or it's much harder. You're building faster. You're also building more precision in those muscles because it takes more precision to move slowly than quick and jerky. So 1 second hold in chest out, and on the resistance bands, to make it the resistance bigger, you just step back further. So that's the middle row. The second one I call a goalpost. So basically you're going to still basically anchored at about chest height, roughly. And you'll start with elbows at your sides. And then you're going to pull your hands back as far as you can. 1 second pause. Basically you're making and then lower your hands. Perfect. So elbows kind of just stay in place and you're just raising and lowering your hands with a 1 second pause at the top. The top is the toughest part. The resistance is highest.
Same thing with find a resistance where I can barely do 10. Or sorry, barely do 20.
Perfect. So it's same rules, 2 sets of 10, catch your breath completely between sets. You'll be fresher for your next set. You'll get more out of it. And pulling against as much resistance as you can get all the way back with. Now, what will happen if you're doing it right or following these rules, session over session, you'll find, oh, I did this today. The next time I do them, I can get a little further back. Because you're getting stronger. And stronger you are, the harder you are to injure.
Okay. And what are you thinking for sleep? Because is that actually, am I hurting myself or am I not really?
So, not really.
Okay, cool.
So here's the thing about sleep. It's really hard to injure yourself in bed because you're not really doing much movement, right? Sleep position can aggravate an issue that's already going on. So as you increase the stability around your shoulder, I'm going to predict that sleeping gets more comfortable on that side. In the meantime, we're going to make some tweaks to sleep posture. So let me see. Let's say I'm on my side in bed, and this is my bed here.
Okay.
Do you ever find yourself sleeping like this or like this?
Yeah.
Okay. So that may be why this thing wakes you up. Here's why. What that means, if you find the need to do this or this, your pillow is too thin, and you're trying to bolster it with the thickness of your ear or shoulder. The problem is, anytime ear and shoulder get close together, it can put a pinch in these muscles and give you the thing you have.
So when I sleep, I use 2 pillows and I cross them. So I actually am like sliding that arm under, and I'm not using it to really hold up. It's more of just a comfort, a position I've, kind of got used to.
Okay. And that
but it still aggravates it when I do it, though, for sure.
So here's what I'll suggest trying instead, and just see if you can sleep doing it this way. So try getting a thick enough pillow, thick enough and firm enough to where you don't feel the need to get your arm under you. Stick your arm straight out when you're on your side. Or my favorite is I like to get a firm pillow here that I hug.
Okay.
It's pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
And it also keeps, like if this is my bed, it also keeps your top arm from kind of collapsing over like this.
Yeah.
And again, if this is my bed, you can stick your hand under that pillow. I just want to avoid this kind of stuff.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Now, of course, you're unconscious, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You wake up in all kinds of crazy positions. That's fine. So when it comes to posture, including sleep posture, you don't have to be perfect. You just need to be mostly good. So basically, if you wake, and usually at night we're awake enough to make these kinds of changes effective. So we roll over, we kind of have a slight awareness. Oh yeah, I caught myself like this, and just fix it then. feel like 80-20 good or even 70-30 good, you're probably going to be fine.
Great.
So that's for side lying. And also spreading, like you said, you started using your left shoulder, sleeping on your left side more. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I know we all have a favorite. My left side is my favorite.
Yeah.
But if you introduce the other side, which you're already doing, here and there through the night, you'll find that rapidly it gets equally comfortable to lay on both sides, which is good for shoulders and necks because it just means you're spreading the workload of laying there on more parts. So no one part has to take all the beating.
Definitely.
Now, one other thing I'll suggest you try is sleeping on your back with no pillow.
Okay.
So it sounds impossible, right? Like I could never sleep. But first of all, here's why it's good. So if I'm on my back, what happens is gravity is automatically putting me in perfect posture. It's no effort on my part. And essentially gravity is undoing everything, all the slouching I did all day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and here's the way to train yourself to be able to sleep in that position. All you have to do is each night when you get in bed, start in that position. That's your first position you get in. Only lay there until you feel like rolling over, and then forget about it the rest of the night.
Okay.
It'll literally be 10 seconds.
So roll over, but then grab a pillow?
Yeah, and do whatever you normally do.
Okay, got it.
All the other things we've talked about. But the back part is just the very first thing. And literally, you're not going to trap yourself in that position. So don't lay there like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. No. As soon as it starts feeling uncomfortable, do whatever you like the rest of the night.
Yeah.
But the next night, same thing. And what you'll find is pretty quickly as nights go by, you'll find you can lay longer and longer on your back with no pillow. And you'll wake up on your back with no pillow, which then means you have 3 good, solid sleep positions to rotate through as they feel comfortable. Left side, right side, back.
Sounds good.
The reason no pillow when you're on your back is because if you had a pillow under your head only, it's going to push your head forward.
Yeah.
Necks don't like to be bent for long periods. It can give you the crick in your neck or give you a shoulder issue. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah. Yep. Awesome.
Let me add this stuff to your note here. We're also going to talk about workstation setup and posture. I know you're not doing a lot of that now, but keyboarding, driving, reading, gaming, all of those things, the posture issues are the top contributor for all things in here. You can have you can have actual injuries too, but they're the single top contributor. So if we make some little improvements there, it can pay off in a big way. And the thing with posture too is small improvements can make a big difference because we're doing many of these things so long, and the effects of these things get magnified by the number of hours you're doing them. Okay, so I'm going to put together 2 and oh, how much water do you get per day? Do you know?
Not sure. Usually I'm really good about water, but this last week and a half I've been just on such a different schedule that I don't know if I've been drinking as much water. But overall, I'm usually peeing clear. Like I drink a lot of water.
Okay, good. That's a great metric. So basically, if you're peeing mostly clear, that suggests you're hydrated.
Yeah.
You look like you're a pretty good sized guy.
6'1".
6'1". Okay. So I would say at least 3 liters a day.
Okay.
That's about 100 ounces. And that's on a sedentary day, by the way.
On a what?
On a sedentary day when you're not doing much, you're not very active. On a basketball day or a workout day, a long hike day, your water needs go up because you're burning through it faster. And here's why water matters so much to everyone, but especially you, because all of your issues are soft tissue issues. And soft tissue is mostly water. So if you don't consume enough, muscles dry out and get stiff, less elastic. Maybe they don't fire as well. They don't do as good a job. So just think beef jerky. Beef jerky is just dehydrated beef muscle, not very stretchy, right?
Yeah.
So we want you less beef jerky-like. Although I'll say your flexibility and range of motion is quite good. So and if you're peeing clear, you're pretty close.
Yeah.
Or possibly great.
Yeah, but I'd say in the last week and a half, I've definitely probably drank less water just with the funky schedule. But I'll be aware of that.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to send you, let's see, sleep positioning. And we'll also send, I gave you workstation ergonomics and the shoulder exercises as well.
So do you think in 2 weeks or a month I'm gonna be pretty good to go with what I've told you?
Oh, way less than a month.
Okay,
So
cool.
here, I'll make my predictions for you real quick. Let me just make sure we have
I was thinking about reaching out to a shoulder person multiple times months ago, but with my past, whenever I have an injury, it usually heals itself unless I know, hey, there's actually a real problem. And I thought this one was going to heal itself multiple times because it kept giving me the impression, hey, I'm a little bit better, and I'm like, it's still been lingering, 4, 5, 6 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's how to kind of weigh the severity or importance of an injury. So you'd think that the longer you have it, the more serious it might be.
Or that didn't solve it, or it didn't fix itself yet.
Yeah, absolutely, which is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Just because you have something longer doesn't mean, oh, it's a worse thing, which it sounds like you're not thinking that anyway.
Yeah.
It just means that whatever the fix I needed was, I haven't given it to my shoulder yet.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm betting that these things that we're talking about are going to fill in that gap and you'll start trending better. And by the way to tell if you're fixing your shoulder or any body part is that your pain trends lower as days go by.
Yeah.
You still feel it in the same place, doing the same things.
Yeah.
Shaking something out. You can still feel it, but the severity starts coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can do those trigger activities longer before you start noticing it. Like maybe I can lay on that shoulder longer. I actually fell asleep and woke up the next morning and didn't have a ton of pain. I could feel it, but it wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
If your pain is trending better, you are fixing your problem for sure.
Cool.
Also, do you have a regular chair nearby?
Office chair, yeah.
Yeah, let's kind of point me at that and have a seat in it. Now I'm going to show you a stretch for your trap that I think you'll like a lot.
Yeah, there's the chair.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, 1 second.
So your trap, this muscle right here runs from shoulder to ear. And if you grab your seat bottom try on your right side.
Okay.
Yep. And then lean away at the waist. Let your shoulder go slack. And then slowly tip your head away. See how you can give yourself a stretch right there?
Uh-huh.
Now, if you slowly lower your chin, see that gets a different spot?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you slowly tip your head back, that gets a different spot?
Yep, back neck muscle, yeah.
Yeah. So whatever head position gives you the biggest feeling of stretch, hold that for 1 whole minute.
So whatever hurt the most?
Yeah, whatever feels, oh, wow, that's the tightest, or that, yeah.
Okay, that's probably the tightest.
There you go. So hold for 1 whole minute. You can do this 2 or 3 times a day as it seems helpful, meaning if you're feeling stiff and tight and you do this stretch and you feel better afterwards, it was good for you, use it accordingly.
Nice.
So if nothing else, let discomfort be your reminder for these things.
Yeah.
Also, there's something called a wall angel that you don't need a wall for that I think will help you a lot. You do it, put your wings up.
In the chair?
Yeah, you can do it sitting or standing, doesn't matter. Keep your hands as far back as you can the whole time you reach up high. Big reach. And hands back as you tuck elbows tight to your sides, down low. Yes. So it's as if, and we're going to do 5 reps together. So it's as if there's a wall behind you, and you're sliding your knuckles on that wall all the way up and all the way down. And ignore any crunching you hear back there. So this undoes the effects of slouching. So for that reason, this is a great way to break up your sitting day or your TV watching day or driving, whatever the thing is that involves lots of, slouching, rounding forward. It feels kind of good, right?
Yeah.
Do 1 more here. Big reach, good. Tuck and relax. Now feel how all this warms up back here?
Yeah.
Those are your good posture muscles. So I'll say try 5 reps like that, 2 or maybe 3 times a day. Again, especially if your shoulder's bugging you. Like maybe you shake out a sheet or a shirt and it bugs you. Try 5 of these, see if you feel a little looser, a little less pain after, and if so, great. There you go, man.
Awesome.
Anything you want to try, like these things, or something you decide on your own? Go ahead.
No, I don't think I have any questions. Really straightforward. I don't know if you, on the questionnaire, I did fill in that once or twice a year I get like a back spasm, and my back actually spazzed 2 days ago. So like right in the middle. So I was just wondering, like, whenever I feel that, what are a couple good stretches to do right then, instead of me trying to pop it and make it feel better, and obviously it makes it worse.
Okay, so let's go. We got time. Let's look at it.
Yeah.
So here's what I need for you next. I need a doorway that you can lay in, and you can just kind of point me that direction or bring me. Yeah, you can bring me with you. And I'm going to show. Yeah, that looks like it'll work. I'll show you what I want to see if you can do.
Okay.
You're going to lay down in the doorway with your butt far enough away from the wall that you can do this with both legs straight, one down, one up.
Okay.
Want to give that a try?
Yeah, let me see if I can get a good viewing angle. I think that might be all right.
Yeah, I think that'll work. Yes. Now, you got that right knee locked?
Almost locked. It's pretty tight.
Okay, so if you peek down the side of yourself, about how far is your butt from the wall?
1 fist.
Okay, good. So here's why you're checking this. We're checking hamstring flexibility. Normal hamstring flexibility is 90 degrees, feels easy to do on both legs.
Okay.
90 degrees would be you sitting on the bottom of that wall.
Yeah.
Easy to do with both knees locked.
Yeah.
You check the other side too. It might be trickier.
Yeah, actually, you probably still can see me, but I got another doorway right here.
Yeah, perfect. These take some creativity sometimes.
And that one, my butt is touching the wall.
Hey, good.
But it's tighter, but I think I could make the other one touch the wall too.
So while you're laying there, press on your own thigh and see if you can straighten that left knee a little more with your hands. Yeah, you can use your left hand up there. Yeah, see how that you can straighten it a little more and give yourself a bigger stretch?
Mm-hmm.
So you're very close to normal flexibility. It looks like maybe your right leg is a little tighter than the left.
Yeah, and for the back, I know what I've always had scoliosis, so that's, it's one of those things where if I turn one way too much and it's already out of line a little bit, that's why it only spazzes like once a year.
Okay.
Is
there a common trigger activity for that?
No, literally breathing could do it. Like the last time, it's usually something physical. It's usually like I'm playing basketball or after, I play a good workout, or it's just, I just tweak something really, literally it's always really small, and then the whole back just freezes up.
It locks up on you.
And I just stop what I'm doing right away and lay down and relax. And what's it called? Like if it's really bad, like it was 2 nights ago when I first spazzed, I'll take like a muscle relaxer going to bed that night, and that's it. Like I didn't take it last night because it really relieves it. So I don't want to have to take that.
Next morning you feel better, usually. Oh, I lost sound.
So yeah, 2 nights ago, it happened, and yesterday it was still pretty stiff, and then woke up this morning, and I feel like I can do almost every activity right now, but it's still a little stiff.
Okay, so here's where we're going with when I was checking your flexibility. So the number one cause for low back pain and spasm is tight hip and thigh muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that's the case is because if your hips, we'll say glutes, hips, IT band, hamstring, if they're too tight, that means your hip can't move as much as it should be able to. And
yeah.
If you're running or going for a rebound or shooting, and your hip can't move safely, enough to move safely, that means your low back has to cover for it by moving extra. So
yeah.
thigh muscles overwork low back.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Now,
Oh, it does. Sorry?
I said also what's actually happening when your back seizes up, that's called muscle splinting. And
Okay.
basically it's just your body sensing that something is wrong and telling all those muscles to tighten up protectively to immobilize you.
Yeah.
It's trying to help you.
Yeah.
It'll feel helpful. That's
No,
what it's trying to do. It's just overreacting.
Yeah.
So if you can restore normal flexibility to your hips, that takes workload off your back, then that's going to be much less likely to happen. And then, of course, the other side of that is we talk about flexibility and strength, right?
Yeah.
Those rules apply head to toe. So the other side of that is making sure that the muscles whose job it is to protect your back can, which would be core work.
Yeah.
Do you do any regular core work?
Ab roller, and I do a good amount of them, and that seems to have really, over the last 4 or 5 months, really felt a lot more strength in my core. And now when I do it, it's not even as much as I feel the core. I actually feel my arms the most now.
Okay, good, fantastic. Now and I'm going to send you my core program as well, and you'll have video clips for that as well.
Definitely.
Here's how to think about core. So basically, your back can move in 3 planes. It can crunch forward and arch backward in this plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in this plane, it can lean side to side, like by standing. You got a dumbbell in one hand, you can pull it. And then in this plane, it can turn side to side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really 6 movements your back can do.
Yeah.
There are muscles whose job is to protect you in all 6. Therefore, any good core program needs to incorporate all 6 of those movements.
Yeah.
Now, I bring that up because a lot of the core programs you'll see, they really heavily emphasize this, the crunch or a sit-up or leg raises or burpees or mountain climbers.
Yeah.
Or bicycles. Those are all flexion.
And they're all going for the visual 6-pack. Yes.
And the 6-pack, which is called your rectus abdominis, it's just one of your 29 core muscles. And it needs to be strong, but if you're relatively neglecting the others, that just means you're vulnerable in these other movements.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll send you my core program. Only takes about 10 minutes to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it addresses all 6 of those movements. And you can do this program up to daily. So it looks like, I know you can't read this, but it looks like this. And there are 6 exercises. The first one is just a stretch, actually. And then there's 5 others.
And I still can do like the ab wheel on top of all this, right? Everything else I want to do, right?
Right. So,
Perfect.
So basically, just the way to think about your core program is the ab roller would be the flexion. It would be addressing the flexion part, the crunching forward. That's what it is. Then as long as you can put in any flexion exercise you like, including the ab roller.
Yeah. So I'll replace your other one with, okay, got it.
Yeah. Now, having said that, you could replace the front plank raise.
Okay.
Which is it's the number 2 one on this list with the ab roller. Do that.
Okay.
All the others I would say to keep, just to make sure that way you're well-rounded, you've got well-rounded protection. But yeah, as long as you're addressing each of the 6 movements against resistance, you can mix and match whatever things you may find. But this definitely will work. Now, the other thing is you can run through this up to daily, any core program.
Yeah.
Say start with 5 reps of each. So 5 of these, 5, 5, 5, 5, done.
Mm-hmm.
Each day you do them, add 1 rep to each of these.
Okay. So, yep.
Then 6 tomorrow, capping it at 10. There's no need to do beyond 10. In fact, I just do 10. Also, if there's an activity that's famous for irritating your low back, try running through this right beforehand. Think of it as switching on all the muscles whose job it is to protect you before you go do that thing. So like basketball, for example. This would make a great warm-up right before basketball. I use it right before squats and deadlifts, for example.
When I do feel the, what was it called? Not the spasm, but what was the term called?
Twinges or splinting.
The splinting. So when I do feel the splinting, what do you recommend just for the rest of the next couple hours to do to just relieve it? Like, what exactly should I do?
The first thing I do is I go for a long walk. Well, I'll check my flexibility first to see if, oh, maybe I've neglected, my hips and hammies are tight. And if they do feel tight, then I'll use those stretches, and then I'll go for a long walk. Like when I say a long walk, that means up to an hour. Walking, first of all, you can't injure yourself walking. And secondly, the small kind of repetitive movements have a way of just kind of calming down that spasm. Also, when you do get the sudden jabs of pain, they can feel electrical sometimes when the cramp grabs you. Each time you feel that pain does not mean damage is happening inside you. And I can't hear you.
In my mind, I'm just like, I think something went wrong, or I triggered something. I don't know, but obviously I feel something. But it makes sense that it's just saying, "Hey, take care of me."
It is, yeah. It's kind of overreacting.
Yeah.
But the proof is always in the pudding. Meaning, if you do some of these things, like you go for a walk, or you do some stretches, or you foam roll, which I'm going to send you my foam rolling guidelines, by the way, too.
Cool.
If you do those things and you feel better afterwards, they were good for you, full stop. So there's no risk that this thing you try that always feels good is secretly bad for you in some way.
Yes.
So I'm going to add, I'll send you the doorway hamstring stretch. Your need for it is low because you're very close to normal, but it's worth having so that you know how to check yourself. So basically, to tell if you need to stretch, you do it. And you see, is 90 easy on both sides? And if it is easy, don't need it.
Okay.
Don't do the stretch. If it's not, if I can only get to here, that means you need it. Do it daily until it's easy again. Then just touch up for life, essentially.
Got it.
I'm going to give you a hip stretch as well to try. And then we'll finish. Oh, yeah, core program. I'm going to load you up, man. You okay with that?
No, I'm excited. I got the time.
Yes, nothing but time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you core program as well. And we'll finish with foam rolling. All right, I'm going to go ahead and email this stuff to you right now.
Perfect.
And by the way, you are cleared to do literally any activity you want to do, as long as that activity does not give you a big increase in pain afterwards.
Yeah.
Which you can't know until after, right?
Yeah, and I think I've already pushed it to see what I can do, and that's what I was saying. Like, I was kind of amazed that I'm able to do literally almost every workout. I'm not feeling it, but then I'm feeling it these other times. That's why I just didn't know how to really work on it.
Yeah. So I'm going to email this to you right now, and then I'll give you a prediction about how all this turns out. So, we've emailed lavaseats.ryan@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oops. Let's see. Ooh, yes. There you are. And your homework. And it will be a bit. But here's the other thing. A lot of these things that we're talking about, all the work is kind of front loaded. Yes, you may have to foam roll every 3 days for a while, but once foam rolling doesn't hurt anymore, then it's just occasional touch-ups. Flexibility and stretching, same thing. All the other stuff, just think of them as these are tools I have in my toolbox that I can pull out and work on myself with as they seem helpful. So I'm not just sitting there wondering, well, I've got back spasms. Guess I just wait it out and hope they get better. You've got the tools.
Awesome.
Okay. Trap stretch, lat stretch, and they're kind of mixed in with your shoulder stuff as well. Sleep positions. Yeah, if you think about it, our body is really just the vehicle our brain drives around, right? And just like any vehicle, just like your car, it has maintenance requirements. These are them.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if we do that maintenance, our car does great. But if we don't, we end up broken down.
Yeah.
So all of these things are just the equivalent of changing the oil and checking the tire pressure and, that kind of stuff. And they all happen to be free, by the way, which is nice. Okay, so, and perform these drills once a week. Almost done, huh? So what is Lava Seats, Ryan?
So sell tickets for concerts, music festivals, and sporting events. So that's why my whole business is on pause, because none of that is going on right now. So it's
Yep.
usually very, very good business, and treats me well. But right
Is that
now,
your business?
sorry,
Is that your business?
yeah. But right now, I have a little extra time. So
Indeed.
yeah,
You can come back swinging. I
yeah.
think I'm going to predict my prediction. And by the way, everything's in your inbox. Oops, I forgot to attach core work. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I think this whole coronavirus thing is going to resolve faster than we think. Or then,
Cool. What do you think of? Because how at least for the live entertainment, it's still the large gathering, so I expect it to be the very last thing to go back to normal too.
yeah. Now,
Yeah.
Agreed. Because everybody's jam packed together.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Hmm.
However, I've been tracking Live Nation. I don't know if you track their.
I've been tracking their stock every day.
They're exploding because everyone's like, okay, they're at a huge discount.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark Cuban was buying them.
Yeah, and then the owner or the CEO bought back in another million or so. So
All that.
I honestly, if this drags out longer, that stock's gonna crash again. I'm telling you.
I think everything's going to crash again.
Yeah.
We're getting it dropped off. We're getting
Yeah.
a little bear market rally, and then I think there are going to be way more deals to be had. So I'm keeping my powder dry right now.
Yeah, same here. I've been watching Live Nation though, because out of all of them, that is definitely one that being in the industry, I have some insight on it. I just don't see how if this lasts another 5-6 months just for live entertainment, they actually have to refund a bunch of money. They don't even have the money right now to refund all the people like me. So it's a mess right now. So. So we'll see, but the live entertainment, yeah, it's the first to go down. It's be the last to come back up. So I was already like 2 weeks ago. I already dealt with the main scare where everyone's at right now, panicking. I'm like, I dealt with that 2 weeks ago, and I was already like, hey guys, it's gonna get way worse, and everyone's like, no, it's not. I'm like, no, trust me. Everything's gonna be closed. So pretty wild.
So here's what I'm most optimistic about. And by the way, can you check your email just to make sure you got?
Yeah.
We've already emailed back and forth. But I think that I'm going to predict, I think Trump may be close to right about when we start releasing phases of people going back to work.
I see. Yeah, I see the homework right there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and yeah. So you think just certain jobs going back and just being protective,
and more likely, and also the both geographic areas that are like already responding, and lower risk people are going to go back first. It's going to be young people and people with no underlying health conditions. They're going to be encouraged to go back to work, and then after some time's gone by, then they'll give the slightly riskier tier can come back, and the last to come back will be the 70 plus years old with lots of underlying health issues. I think they'll be the last. But I really think that this hydroxychloroquine drug, which is a malaria drug, I don't know if you heard about it.
Yeah, I was hearing about it from one of the other countries was using it, right?
Yes, and the results look super promising. Like they're putting it together with the azithromycin, which is also known as Z-Pak, and together they're getting some amazing anecdotal results. They're doing it in New York right now. So by the end of this, well, we're almost at the end of the week. By the 31st, we'll have tons more data on that. And if it looks like, yes, there's an explosion in the number of cases, but the death rate is going down.
Yeah, then we're saving lives.
Death rate is the magic number to watch.
Yeah, because if death rate goes down, it's just people getting sick. It'll be like, hey, this is like everything else. We just have to live with it,
And
go ahead. What's your prediction just on the timetable between now and when you think stuff's gonna be pretty normal? Like, what's your just guess on that?
I would say if I had to bet money on it, I would say, what are we? We are just wrapping up March.
Almost in April, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say in the middle of summer,
yeah,
things are going to be a lot more normal.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the next 2 weeks are probably going to be the worst.
Yeah.
So we'll be peaking in the next 2 weeks and improving.
Yeah. Hopefully improving. Yeah.
I mean, but the peak just means that everything that happens after is improvement, even though there may, there's still going to be people dying and more cases.
Yeah.
But the death rate peaking and the case numbers, I care about case numbers, but they don't tell the story, because the more you test, the more cases you're going to find.
Everything's delayed. We had cases 2 weeks ago that we didn't test for yet. So us having these ridiculous numbers, you've only been testing for a week.
Right. So the more you test, the more you're going to find. So it looks horrible, even though these are, 80% of people are fine, may not even realize they were sick.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah. Thanks for the insight on that.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear what other people think on it.
Yeah, I'm kind of obsessively following all this stuff. So
cool.
I'm actually very optimistic. I think now the economic impact of all this craziness that we're doing right now, that's a big question mark.
Yeah. I don't know how you can save or, get back lost wages for just that many people, no matter what you do. But the cool thing is, at least, for me on my, dealing with a business and stuff, every credit card company, the mortgage companies, everyone's been super helpful. Everyone except for Citibank. Citibank has not cared at all. They're like, nope, everything's due this date. I'm like, every other credit card company is being helpful, and I'm going to remember this, that you're not being, helpful right now. So,
and here, I think they're going to be forced to capitulate. They're going to have to. There's no way they can say, oh, we're going to give you, everybody's going to have bad credit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Pay their rent.
Yep.
No one can pay their mortgage. No one can pay their credit card bills. So technically, everyone should have terrible credit. Now, what does that mean? It means all the auto manufacturers have no one to sell cars to.
No one can approve.
The home builders have no one qualifies for a home. So there's no way that's going to be allowed to happen. I think there's going to be some kind of big debt write-off.
Yeah, just hey, you got in debt. Hopefully, maybe get 70 or 50% of your missed wages or something cool like that. Something.
Yeah, I don't think there's, if someone takes 3 months off of work, that when they come back to work, their landlord's going to say, all right, you owe us those 3 months of rent. No, I think it's all just going to disappear.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It would be cool.
Yeah.
But I don't see another way that it could happen, because otherwise the whole country just shuts down.
Yeah, no, that, I know, Trump doesn't want that to happen, because everything he just got the economy boosted back up, just lost it. He's like, crap, it's election time. So, there's a lot of agendas going on.
Oh man, it's crazy. Okay. So here's what I predict going forward. I'm betting if you apply all these things we talked about, that you'll notice back and shoulder improving in the ways we talked about. So pain trending lower, happening less often, not as severe when it happens, not lasting as long when it happens. And if that's the case, great. That means you're doing everything right.
Mm-hmm.
I propose that you check in with me by email in about a week or maybe two with a status update, better, worse, or same.
Cool. Sounds good.
Or check in sooner if something interesting happens.
Yeah, hopefully not.
That could be interesting. Awesome.
Yeah, hey, did a couple of reps and it's done.
Yeah, shoulder's feeling way better. Or
I
just went and played basketball with my mask on.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't bother me that much.
Yeah.
And we'll just kind of gauge what direction we go based on your check-in in a week or two.
Sounds good. Awesome.
Also, in the meantime, if you do have questions about anything at all, email me.
Great.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, you too. Great to meet you, Ryan.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.